Welcome back. That was done for us by James Tamba Martha. Quite a very sombering report there. And for those who want to support, please do reach out. And as well, you can reach out through AYV, and we will put you in contact with the mother. This is where you say no penny, no leons, no pound. It's too small. Imagine if 1 million people or 2 million people donate 1,000 leons. That would go a long way. So let's be our brother's keeper and support if we can. So we continue with the conversation now in exercise of his prerogative of mercy as guaranteed by the Constitution of Sierra Leone. President Julius Maada Bio has pardoned 153 inmates nationwide. Now, this exercise, according to the Minister of Internal Affairs, David Panda Noah, is part of efforts to decongest the correctional center nationwide. Ronald J. Morovia has more on the story.
Chapter 5, Part 1 of Sierra Leone 1991 Constitution grants the President the power to release inmates on prerogative of mercy. This exercise is done twice every year. In performing this mandate, President Bio has pardoned 153 inmates nationwide. According to the Minister of Internal Affairs, the move is to help decongest correctional centers across the country.
That we should release these model inmates so the others can see that when you behave yourself, you do what is right, and there's correction, and you've decided inside to change, that there's ways and means for early release, and that's what's happened here today. And it also is because of the congestion. He said you were saying there's congestions in the prisons, so why not effect the release that I had ordered in April to ensure that we reduce the population in the correctional service.
With its transformation from prisons to correctional services, the key mandate of the center is to transform inmates for reintegration into society. Leslie Cole-Showers is the public relations officer, and he speaks on how best the center has worked to ensure those released had been transformed.
We've transformed from prisons to corrections since the year 2014. We've been doing a lot of things to help their mindsets, to help their skill sets as well. People know of the university education that we were offering at the University of Makeni in the north of Sierra Leone. Apart from those, we also have life skills training such as sewing, shoemaking, welding, masonry, electrical works, etc.
Commending government for their release, some of the released inmates share their experiences.
I'm glad for today for left me, then I'm happy, then I tell God thank you, then the officers are back, I tell God thank you, I tell them thank you. So this mistake what I do, I can't again, because of me not to thief. Because of the land business company.
Running at this confinement for over 2 to 3 years now. Well, it got unfortunate. We got to call social misvalue. Society, youth, especially the age there, can get negative circumstances and youth can persuade me into one too bad action will make at least mankind inside this confinement.
Of the total 153 inmates that were released nationwide, only 3 were female. Ronald J. Morovia, AYV News, Freetown.
All right, before we continue on, I will read this message from Patrick Wuri, who says, AYV, how about we send you our contributions, then forward it to the lady, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah. We have the AYV Charity Foundation, and we've had, people who have supported individuals in Sierra Leone, out of Sierra Leone, through the foundation, because they know that AYV is credible, and whatever donation or support they send to individuals in Sierra Leone, that we are definitely going to ensure that they receive the supports as they have stipulated. So if you do want to support the lady, you can do that through AYV. We have our charity foundation, and we will ensure that the woman receives the support as needed. So go on and reach out to AYV, and we would either put you in direct contact with the woman or, you know, if you do send a donation, we would get it across to her. So thanks so much, Patrick, for that question. So we will continue now this morning to discuss the presidential pardon of 153 inmates nationwide, and as well other correctional service matters. We have Leslie Cole Showers, who's the Chief Officer for the Sierra Leone Correctional Center, and Alphonsus Bani, Executive Secretary of the Human Rights Defender Network, Sierra Leone. And in Studio 2, Mohammed Kone is Communications Officer from Prison Watch, Sierra Leone. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm going to start off with you, Leslie. 153 inmates were pardoned, and as the Minister of Internal Affairs mentioned, one of the reasons is to decongest the correctional center. Can you now, probably before we start the conversation, give us a breakdown on, you know, nationwide, the correctional centers we have, the numbers of inmates, and also how many, what's the capacity or regional capacity of those correctional centers?
Well, thank you very much for hosting me this morning. The statistics of the release that we executed yesterday, for Pademba Road Male Correctional Center, we released 14. Freetown Male Reintegration Center at Jomo Kenyatta Road, former special court, where Charles Taylor used to be housed. We released 5 inmates from there, male inmates. Freetown Female Correctional Center at Willoughby Lane, Brookfield, Freetown, we released 2. Pretrial Detention and Simulation Center at Waterloo, we released 8. Bo Female Correctional Center, we released 1. Bond Correctional Center, we released 5. Moyamba Correctional Center, we released 3. Pujaon Correctional Center, we released 11. Matru Jong Correctional Center, we released 5. Kenema Correctional Center, we released 12. Kailaon Correctional Center, we released 13. Sefadu Correctional Center, we released 10. That's in Kono. Makeni Correctional Center, we released 11. Maguoka Correctional Center, we released 4. Mafanta Correctional Center in the north as well, we released 31 inmates from there. Kabbalah Correctional Center, we released 4. Cambia Correctional Center, we released 8. Poloko Correctional Center, we released 6. So in total, we released 150 male inmates and 3 female inmates. That gives us a grand total of 153.
Okay.
Speaking of overcrowding, you know, our original capacity is 1,939. That's our original capacity.
Nationwide?
Yes, nationwide figure. But if you look at the number of inmates we have in our correctional center as at yesterday, because the figures for today have yet to be computed. As at yesterday, we had 3,983. But just after the release, we had 3,830 inmates. So you would, reasonably conclude that that's over 50% overcrowding that we are faced with nationwide. And even the Pademba Road Correctional Center, you know, was originally constructed in 1914 to house 324 inmates. But as we speak today, we have 1,436 inmates in there. And that has even reduced because we've had help from the government and help from non-governmental organizations as well, such as the United Nations Development Program and the International Bureau of Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. They've helped us to construct new center and to refurbish some blocks in some of our correctional centers around the country. One, the new correctional center that we have in this country is situated at Waterloo in the precinct of our training school. It is known as the Pretrial Detention Center and Simulation Center. It has an original capacity of 110 inmates, 100 male inmates and 10 female inmates. And if you go to Mafanta, you know, during the war, some blocks were burnt down, I think about 4 blocks or so. But the UNDP and INL helped us to reconstruct 2 of those blocks that created more additional spaces for us in order to decongest Pademba Road. And the space it created was for 300 inmates. So if you compute that, we've been able to have 410 more spaces. That is why Pademba Road today has this kind of number. In the past, in the year 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, we used to have over 2,000 inmates inside the Pademba Correctional Center.
How could it be better explained that you only have to release 3 women out of all of the number of inmates?
Well, statistically, if you look at the number of male inmates we have countrywide from time to time, I mean, the number of female inmates constitutes only about 3% of 100%. You know, women are not predisposed to commit crime as much as men.
How many women do you have presently?
We have 119
and you release
female inmates.
Nationwide?
Yes, nationwide. You know, the presidential pardon, I mean, is not meant for people who commit felonious offenses, but people who commit misdemeanors. And misdemeanors are minor crimes, felonious offenses are heinous and serious crimes that people commit in society. Now, if you do a survey of all the female inmates, of most of the female inmates we have in our correctional centers, are those who committed murder, manslaughter on their men. Most of them, that's the crime that they committed in society. So we can't include them. We can't include them or recommend them for presidential pardon.
So they don't get included?
No, they are included. That's why we have 3.
Felonious
Those
crimes.
who commit felonious offenses, they are hardly considered.
But they do get considered?
Yes, depending on the fact that it comes from the president, because he is the one who has the prerogative of mercy, because it is enshrined in the Constitution of Sierra Leone in Section 40, subsection 4, paragraph E. He has the prerogative, he has the special authority or power to release anybody that he feels like releasing.
So he determines who he wants
yes,
to be released?
Yes, after we've made our recommendation, he determines who he wants to be released and who not to be released.
So what base your recommendation for who should be released?
I've just explained that those who commit misdemeanors are the ones we recommend most of the time. Sometimes, you know, the powers that be, they have the prerogative to say, okay, even if this person is not included, include this person.
So you are called
going to release him.
They will call and tell you and who to include?
Yes, sure,
you
definitely.
Mean the
powers
that the president alone has that authority to recommend someone to be released, even if we do not include the person. That's why it's called the prerogative of mercy. It is not our own power. The power rests in the president of this country.
So that is what I want to clarify. There are instances where you are told that you should include certain people, or you can recommend them to the president by people who are in governance?
By the president, not people who are in governance.
Yeah,
it is only the president that the Constitution grants the right or the power.
Now, I'm talking about recommendation, possibly
nobody else in power recommends to us. We do the recommendation and send it to the Prerogative of Mercy Committee that is chaired by the Vice President of this country. And the Prerogative of Mercy Committee was given birth to by the Constitution as well in Section 63. You know, it is enshrined in there. So everything we do is not outside the ambit of the law. It is within the ambit of the law.
We're just trying to understand the process, especially if you've said most times those who commit felonious crimes are hardly brought forward as a recommendation. But if memory serves me right, during the last presidential pardon...
On New Year's Day, you mean?
Sorry?
On New Year's Day?
Yes. A female was released, and it was quite contentious based on the fact that she was charged and incarcerated, I hope I'm getting my terms right, on the basis of murder. Again, she was the one who won the Miss Correctional, the first ever Miss Correctional. So on what basis did that recommendation or that release or pardon come forward? We understand it is the prerogative of the president, but you've just clarified recommendations hardly come forward on felonious. I hope I'm right again with that term?
Felonious offenses.
Exactly. So how did that recommendation and how did that pardon come through?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I knew it was definitely going to come up. As you said, the lady in question was the one who won the miscorrections, you know, in 2019, in November specifically. She didn't commit murder because the court decides what crime a person commits. The court decided that she committed manslaughter and not murder on her man whom she was staying with at home, you know. So when we made our recommendations, her name was not included in the list. So it came from the president that you should release that young lady. She's young. She has a very long way to go in life because she was 19 as at the time she was released. Given the fact that she has so much potential to exhibit in real life situations, the president thought it fit. That is why he used his prerogative. The Constitution gives him that right. It was not outside the ambit of the Constitution. That's why he recommended that we also include her in the list.
So based on the potential she portrays, that as a young woman she can be of
use in society.
Use to society.
And she has a very long way to go in life.
Okay. So it wasn't based on her remorseful character within the correctional center, because this seems not like a justification for anyone to go murder anyone and get released, or manslaughter. Again, I am not very conversant with the term.
I know, it's okay.
But maybe let me just use the basic word, kill someone. And based on your future projections and the potential, you can get pardoned based on that. It seems like a justification.
It's not. That's why it's called the prerogative of mercy. It is only the president that has that power in the whole of this country, including other countries as well. And let me just inform you, the only country that does not enjoy the prerogative of mercy is China. All other countries in the world enjoy it. And the president enjoys that right to say, release this person.
Okay,
so it's part of his power.
Let's bring Alphonse Bani into this discussion. The release of these individuals, the congestion of the courts and the prisons as well, the correctional centers as well. What does this mean, you know, for human rights, as well as sometimes we talk about the acceptance of these individuals when they come back to society? How do people look at them? How do we ensure that they do not get into what they've been doing? As a human rights defender, what's your opinion on this?
To us, in the first place, we appreciate the provisions being established in the Constitution that gives the mandate to the President to exercise the prerogative of mercy for Sierra Leoneans that are probably have been convicted for various crimes. Our concern from the human rights angle, and I'm happy that we have somebody from Prisons Watch. It is not because people are being sent to the correctional services for them to go through some counseling or at least to be transformed from criminal activity to a positive engagement in community. And so, in other words, if somebody steals and that person is sent to correctional services, it's for him or her to be punished or to be transformed. And that suggests that crimes are not proportionate, because if I steal, you cannot steal, but you send me to correctional services. And so we are trying to see the balance of those people or the victims that such a person has been sent to correctional services. How does it relate to the human rights of the victims that that particular person that has been given the pardon will affect? And so that is the rationale we want to see, and how participatory this approach, because if we are just limiting the recommendations from the correctional services staff, we don't know to which level. We have institutions that have been working with inmates in the correctional services. And as civil society institution, we, from our own angle, we do trust the independence of that particular institution to provide an independent vetting that will assist the correctional services, because they are a strict institution. We are not saying they are not doing well, and we are not in any way undermining what they have done, but we think to have a well-balanced account of those people that will be recommended to President for pardon, we need to have an independent institution that is working with those people that can do vetting. And it will also help the government, it will also help the community that these people may be reintegrating.
Okay.
And so that is our concern.
Let's
That's the
bring
angle of
Mohamed
comment.
Kone into the discussion. From Prison Watch, from your own perspective, the release of these individuals, we know you've been calling for the facilities to be decongested, especially with COVID-19. Yeah. But Agbani was just raising an issue of an independent body that will identify and recommend those who should be, pardoned by the president. What's your position on that?
We welcome the pardoning of this inmate, 153. The same concerns Gbani is raising, I mean, it's also a concern to all of us because, I mean, it is left with the correctional authorities to recommend those that they deem fit to be released. So basically, it is only when recommendations come to the committee, this is where civil society sits and look at the recommendations brought forward by the authority. But again, we have to look at the laws. Basically, if the laws are not changed or the laws are not reviewed, then it will be difficult for civil society at that first initial stage where where the correctional authorities will be recommending. Because let us don't forget that the correctional authorities work directly with the inmates. They know the inmates, they know how they are doing, what they are doing, and basically they have the right to recommend who has been doing well, who has been reformed, and what crime that that person committed. So basically, this is something that we also have to look at. But we welcome the pardoning of this inmate. But again, I would say this is just a drop in the ocean because 153 from among over 3,800. I mean, this is just a minute number. But again, you've
been working with female inmates.
Yeah,
I know that.
Definitely.
What does it mean that of all the number, you have only 3 women who were pardoned by the president?
Again, we'll say we are disappointed somehow because out of the number, it's over 100 female inmates that are in correctional centers, but only 3 were released. That number is so small, but again, you have to look at the crimes that are committed because you don't just release people because you want to release them. I mean, you have to look at the crimes committed, and you have to also think about people back in society where those crimes were committed. I mean, if you have somebody that is jailed for murder, and you have people living in that community whose son or daughter was murdered by that particular person, you have to look at all of those circumstances. But again, I mean, we have problems in this country whereby, I mean, the police, the judiciary, the lady one of the ladies that was pardoned yesterday, she was serving 40 years for wounding with intent. I mean, that is huge. I mean, you cannot commit somebody to prison for 40 years for wounding with intent. I mean, that is huge. I mean, the other lady that was also released yesterday, I mean, she was jailed, she was pregnant. She gave birth in the center. So you have to look at all of those circumstances. I mean, I'm not sure we have a law that debars the prison authorities to reject somebody going into their centers that is pregnant. So basically, we have to look at all of those reforms. Because if we have to actually, I mean, give justice to people, then we have to look at all of those reforms when we are looking at our justice system in Sierra Leone. This is where I think we are still having problems.
So this means that your Prison Watch did some sort of a review on the 153 inmates who were released in terms of what crimes got them into prison or correctional center in the first place.
Definitely, yeah. So
out of that number, do we have anyone released who was charged with rape or sexual penetration?
I'm not sure because from among the list that we saw, we've gone through their crimes. There is nobody in that list. I'm not sure if my memory can take me back. I'm not sure there's anybody in that list that committed something like sexual penetration or rape. So basically, I mean, a whole lot of the guys that we are released, these were people that committed petty crimes. So I mean, there was another guy for Osusu money. I mean, he was sent to Panemba Road. I mean, you have a lot of other guys, bike riders, who have been sent to Panemba Road. I mean, others there was another guy that was sent to Panemba for frequenting. I mean, I saw that kind of charge. I mean, when I asked the last time, frequenting is that you are found in one ghetto or prohibited place several times. So if you are arrested, I mean, you'll be charged to court. And then that guy was sent to Panemba Road for like 5 years. I mean, he has done something like 3 years for just frequenting. So basically, you look at all of those.
I'll bring Alphonsus on this. You know, the issues of some of these things that people are charged for, you know, the crimes, and you know, looking at things that they can even be fined or asked to do community services. When we were growing up in the city, we used to see, you know, prisoners going around cleaning up or doing some community work, but that is not happening again. But the charges and some of the crimes Kone was just highlighting over there, someone for susu money, someone for frequenting, and their rights as well as individuals. How do we get to understand that with the criminal justice system?
Well, that brings us to the modern day approach in dispensing justice. And I'm quite sure that my brother seated here, they have also been crying for a total and a complete review of our criminal justice system. Until and unless we see a thorough review of the criminal justice system, the burden of responsibility will be with our brothers here at the correctional services, because that's the end result where these people will be dumped. At the end of the day, when they are charged, even if they go to court, whether they are sentenced or they are remand, they are with them. And so they are on remand, they are with them. And so the criminal justice system needs to be reviewed and changed. It was, in fact, a few days ago, I was exchanging on WhatsApp with the former commissioner of the Human Rights Commission, Ibrahim Abdullah Sharif. It was so amazing that somebody was arrested a few days ago by some members from the Minister of Lands under something like a Fanke Act of 1905. Imagine, we are still using that, and police arrested that gentleman under that same act. I can't imagine, 1905. And even people are still being charged to court for offenses against the Persons Act of 1861. And still these people are using it in court. So I just don't imagine, even the judges themselves, what type of pride do they have, or the magistrate, to add value even to what, if they are even passing sentence. Let them pass sentence on modern days amendments or issues that how we can move as a civilized nation. I don't think even the law officers, what they are doing, these are the challenges.
So clearly there is need for some review.
There's a complete need for an overall review of our criminal justice system to help even our correctional service centers officers that are holding these people. Because at the end of the day, the buck rests upon them to put these people in a confined area for them to be transformed. Yes. And that's the biggest challenge.
We have like 6 minutes to go, but let's look quickly. In April, you were to release some people.
April 29th.
Yes, when the riots happened. Were they released, or these are the people that were to be released there?
Those were the people we were supposed to release yesterday. You know, we were actually supposed to release on the 29th of April, because I sent a text to you.
Exactly.
We were actually supposed to release 235 of them. So now we released less 82 of that number.
Why?
Because most of them, the 82 of them rather, had served their term already. So we had to discharge them from our different correctional centers.
This brings a question. Is there a constitutional number of inmates that can be pardoned per pardoning event?
No, there's no constitutional number. Even if the president wakes up and sends a message to us and say, release everybody from your correctional centers, we are going to do it. He has the
who determines?
And there's no specific dates. It is just that by policy, it is on New Year's Day and on Independence Day. But it is not enshrined in the Constitution or any other statutory regulation in this country. So he has the prerogative.
So he comes
He can
forward.
wake up any morning and say, release all inmates that you have in your centers.
I agreed. So he comes forward and says, with this pardoning I'm about to embark on, I want to release 2 people. So who determines the number per each pardoning event of the inmates to be released? Is it the recommendation committee?
It starts with us. We have officer in charge of all our correctional centers around the country. they come up with recommended names and send it to headquarters. Headquarters vets the list, probably reduces the number or adds the number, and send it to the Prerogative of Mercy Committee, chaired by the Vice President of this country. And that committee constitutes the Director General of the Sierra Leone Correctional Service, the IG of the police, you know, the Attorney General and other people. After which they send it to the Secretary, to the President of this country, who then forwards it to the President for his viewing, upon which he says, okay, I'm okay with this, or I'm not okay with this kind of number. Please reduce the number, or add this person's name to the list. And they send it back to us to execute it.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
Finally, Mohamed Kone, we still have a congested correctional service.
Definitely,
and
yeah.
there is COVID-19. You repeatedly, yourself and Advocate and other organizations have been calling for the congestion of the prison facilities. What moving forward with COVID-19, should you be asking for more people to be released?
Definitely, we still have people in the correctional centers that are serving, they are serving jail time for petty crimes. So we still have all of those. And you have other people that they've just have 3 months or 6 months on their jail terms. So these are people that they are supposed to release. You have people that are served for 10 years. You have people that are served for over 8 years. And you have people that have not been indicted since they are at Panemba, they have not been indicted. But one thing I want to come to has to do with the laws that Alphonse Ugbani was talking about. We still have those laws in our law books, and until they are reviewed, we can't do anything about it. As long as they are laws, the court will use them. So we have to review those laws. Otherwise, we'll still have people, the 1861 acts that we use, and we still have 1905 Act that will be used. Just like the Public Order Act we are coming about. Until we review all of those laws or we repeal them,
So
the court will
quickly,
continue to use them.
if you can answer this in less than a minute. I know that the, oh God, what do you call them again? Fatmata Clay Hansel's organization. Legal Aid. We're championing, again, I hope I have this word, this Latin word, habeas corpus. Is it right?
Habeas corpus.
Yes,
Habeas corpus,
exactly, which they were pushing, and I know that they had sort of been able to get some people out of the centers based on that. Is it still ongoing, and is that something that maybe Prison Watch probably is recommended should become a norm? I hope I'm getting my terms right here.
Quickly, Connor, we have less than
seconds.
Yeah, definitely. These are all issues that we are looking at. We do collaborate a whole lot with other organizations, looking at where their concerns are coming from. We also do have series of concerns on the correctional services. The way inmates are taken care of. How do you treat them when they are in custody? But also a whole lot of other issues. In terms of reformation, it's only at the Panemba Road Maximum Prison where serious reforms are taking place. The other centers, you do not have issues like carpentry. You do not have a whole lot of issues are not in place. So basically, these are all issues that we are looking at.
No, I do not agree with that.
Okay.
We will bring you back.
No, I do not agree with
No,
that.
we'll definitely find
There are
something
centers that those kinds of skills training are going on.
Okay,
I'm saying
time has closed on us.
serious
Time has
reforms,
closed on
where
us.
you have serious reforms.
How many inmates do you have that are infected with COVID? Do you still have?
No, we do not have any inmates.
Again,
as at
okay.
now.
Alfonso, it's in a second.
Yes, in a second, I just wanted to get clarification from my brother that the 82, because they are supposed to discharge to pardon 200.
Yeah, on April 29th.
And on April 29th, and they discharged, they pardoned 153, and 82 were discharged.
Yes.
But I heard from the Director General in a discussion that one of those people that were part of the inmate to be pardoned was involved in the riotous conduct at the correctional services. So how? Yes. So are you suggesting now that he was discharged, or can you also tell us that what happened in correctional services? Those people that were in that list were not involved. Some of them were not involved.
Okay.
Just one. You are correct. Just one of them.
Okay.
All right. We'll hold it there. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock on the dot. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Leslie from the Sierra Leone Correctional Center. Thank you very much, Alphonse Ugbani from again the
Human Rights
Defenders,
Defenders.
and from Prison Watch we have our dear brother who
Mohamed
is
Kone.
Mohamed Kone. And this is where we end the conversation today on Wake Up Sierra Leone. The quote today as we leave says, "Poverty is the worst form of violence." And that's coming from Mahatma Gandhi. And thanks as well to our sponsor, Rokel Commercial Bank, for helping us to bring this program. My name is Star Bangura, hoping you have a beautiful and safe day.
And I am Amadou Lamunaba. Thanks for being with us. Wake Up Sierra Leone returns tomorrow at 8 a.m. Keep watching AYV.